Yes.
Good to see you. I just hit the record button and I'm going to record this next little bit because I know that some of us aren't here yet, but I do want to get started. And Diego and Naomi, good to see you both.
Naomi, I think I remember you. You were one of Mrs. Rosing's students, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I was.
Okay. When was your meeting time? That will help me put a face to the chair and the desk.
It was early in the morning, like around 10.
Was it morning, afternoon? Do you remember?
It was morning. Can y'all hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, it was in the morning.
Okay.
All right. I'm already, I'm getting back into the habit. I'm juggling like the private chats and the camera and all the rest of this fun stuff. It feels like a long time since I've seen some of you. And then again, it feels like it was yesterday. So let's jump right in. I'm going to share a screen and get to our agenda, which I promptly misplaced. Here we go. Oh, that's last year's blog. Where did I put this here? Ah, here we go. So if you have not yet bookmarked this year's version of the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy website, we are here, and I'll put this in the chat. So if it's easier to follow along on your own device, please feel free to click on that link and do so. Otherwise, I'm going to roll through a couple of things that we have here, starting with today. Now, this is the third post that's gone up since technically the beginning of the year. But the reason I wanted to key on this one is because if you haven't looked at the other two, you're already late. That's not to put pressure on people or make this intimidating, but it is to say this is independent study. Dr. Ulrich also has, we've known each other for as long as you guys have been alive. We met back in 2006 when I first came to the Santa Maria Joint Union High School District. And the thing about independent study is independent. So we need you to keep up just like you need us to keep up. And I'm working my end like air traffic control these days. I've got like 9 devices and 16 channels going. What's that? See, like right now, I'm getting a call on another one. Can't do it right now, though. So basically, we all function as a network. And that makes this very, very different than a traditional classroom where most of the people in the room are sitting there getting talked at and following directions. That's not the way this is going to work. So if you look on the screen or if you're on your own device, if I say something like we're starting the learning journey of a lifetime, that sounds like an adorable Hallmark card or a graduation speech, but it's actually not an exaggeration. So, Zoe, I'm going to use you as an example. If I said to somebody, hey, can you take a bunch of nuts and bolts and animate it into what looks like a life form that does stuff? Can you say like 2 sentences about what you did in robotics last semester? What did you build?
A robot.
Well, okay. What did it do?
It picked up a base and moved it from one place to another.
So you actually programmed using software and built hardware that did all of that?
Yes.
All right. Tell that to most kids sitting in a high school classroom looking at a textbook with a sad quiz in front of them and a number of points. That's a whole different experience, is it not?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're new to open source learning this semester and you're watching this as a recording, because I think everybody in the live meeting is returning, that sounds like, whoa. But if I put up a post like this and I say that open source learners can even learn to fly, well, this is a nice picture of my old neighborhood in Shell Beach. You might even recognize this. But what you may not know is that I took this picture from the back seat of an airplane that was being flown by a student. Now you guys have to make a choice. You're either going to be a student and you're going to be a passive rule following player of school games, do assignments and get credit and whatever, or you're going to be a learner, which is way more active. And my question right here, did you click the link? A lot of things are going to happen in this environment that are only going to be valuable if you take advantage. So in that last sentence, if you noticed, there was a link. Well, that goes to the story of this guy who was a Rigetti High School student who said high school was a waste of time and promptly decided he wanted to learn to fly and then took me for a ride. But you wouldn't know that unless you clicked on the link. Now, in a way, you already know your way around the internet if you've been on social media or if you've played games. You know how to find an Easter egg if you need one. But there are clues all over our learning world that are only going to help you if you click on them. So for example, in this next paragraph, if you didn't know what the word interdisciplinary meant, most people skip over stuff they don't know. When we're reading in class, like if I think back to teaching English classes, most people don't admit what they don't know, but it's right here for you. So it's time for us to start taking advantage of the opportunity to learn independently and to do stuff in our own time. Because if you're waiting for Dr. Ulrich or me to remind you or stand over your virtual desk, well, this semester is going to suck and you're probably better off somewhere else. If you're ready to rock and roll on your own time and in your own way and look to us for some support around that, well, we're all going to have the time of our lives. So because Dr. Ulrich is on a tight schedule today, I'd love to turn it over to you for a few moments if you're willing. And even though we didn't rehearse this, can you walk us through how you see the process of using the contract? And if you want to share a screen, you're welcome to do that too. But talk to us a little bit about next steps, because at the end of our meeting, I'm going to be scheduling people for meetings with Dr. Ulrich, and I want to make sure that we know what to expect.
Okay. I'd love to. In fact, I'd like to stay around the whole meeting and not go to a faculty meeting. I'd rather stay here with you kiddos, but it's not the way it's going to work today. So welcome to the open source learning. What I'm going to be the teacher that meets with you once a week. And so we'll review each week what you have completed and what questions you have and any guidance I can give you or any insights, any support. And if we end up just talking about your pet cat, that's fine too. As long as there's work that I can see, that I can share with the district to count your attendance, that's good. So a couple, admittedly, talking about your cats or dogs or horses is way more fun, and I would much rather do that. However, there's a little bit of schoolwork kind of stuff that we need to fit into our weekly meeting. So Dr. Preston will be scheduling for me, because I'll be away here in a bit, your weekly meeting. And the requirement by the state and the school is that you attend that weekly meeting, and it doesn't have to last the entire hour. We'll meet for we'll have scheduled for an hour, but we don't need to meet the whole hour. And if there's someone you'd like to meet with besides me, so for example, Naomi, if you're thinking, geez, I think it'd be fun to meet with Zoe and share a time, that would be great too. That would be very fun. And I'll ask you about your work and show you a little bit about how we will collect your work and for what we need to do on our end to prove that you're in school. And I will also assign some classes that are what you need for your transcript in order to graduate. But there'll be a lot of freedom along the way as well to venture out and learn a little bit more and discover a little bit more about your interests and, as Dr. Preston calls, your big question. So are all of you, Dr. Preston, are all of these students returning students?
They're not only returning, they're some of my, we're not supposed to have favorites, but I'd be lying.
No, we're not. We're not supposed to. We're not supposed to.
Yes, they're all returning.
Oh, cool. Okay. So that makes it a whole lot easier. So if you students know each other and you're thinking, I think the three of us would love to be in a meeting together for an hour, then just let Dr. Preston know that and he can plug you in. You'll need to meet with me every week. That is one of the stipulations. And I know you got used to doing that last year. You probably met more than once a week. We're not limited to just once a week. So if you have a question or something that's keeping you from moving forward, or better yet, if you have something that you're just dying to share with me and show off a little bit, that's fine too. So just send me an email and we'll schedule a second time to meet during the week. Anything else that you can think of, Dr. Preston, before I open it up to questions?
Yeah, so last year we met every day, and we met in the fall semester, it was an hour and a half with everyone. And then the spring semester, it was an hour, and we divided the group into two. This time around, we're actually going to have less total meetings, but we're going to have more focused meetings. So the meetings that we're going to have, you'll have a daily agenda up on the website, just like we did last year. We'll still have our journals. We'll still practice mindfulness. In fact, I'm going to use myself as an example. I just posted, I am going to keep my learner blog right along with you guys this year. And what I'm hearing Dr. Ulrich say about the individual meetings is going to be super important, because you know how it goes. We all go through fits and starts. We have weeks where we're just on it and we're feeling the momentum and things are flowing and it feels easy. And then we've got the other times. So regardless of what's going on in our lives or how easy or difficult it's going, those individual meetings are really going to help you benchmark, set the pace with Dr. Ulrich, so that there's never any doubt about how you're doing with regard to your course progress or, getting the units that you need for your transcript. The group meetings are going to take on a slightly more focused shape as well. A lot of the time last year, if you noticed, we would go through the mindfulness and writing in our journals and having the general conversation and the working sessions. That worked pretty well. As far as getting to some of the topics that we wanted to discuss, whether that was personal finance, whether that was things like practical stuff, getting resumes together, some of those kinds of things, Dr. Ulrich and I realized that we can actually focus those in seminars that are geared to what you're interested in and what you need. And we can just have the group time focus on the content also. Along the way, we're going to give the same space that we had last year for us to make choices about what's most important and when. So we'll put up some polls, we'll have some discussion about that. But between the seminars and the individual meeting with Dr. Ulrich, we won't have to have the daily hour-long meetings that we were doing last year. So as we get to the schedule part of the conversation, it'll look a little different, but it's going to be a lot more focused.
Dr. Preston, they already are going to like me better because I just shortened up how much they need to meet during the week. So thank you for that.
They love meeting with me. And by the way, Dr. Ulrich is like the two of us, and Martin is the quiet technology guy. I am so super stoked to be collaborating with a team, because last year I was doing it all and feeling like an octopus. And this year I'm like an octopus with friends. So all of us are in constant communication as well. If you can reach one of us, but not the other two, totally fine. We're going to get the job done, because at the end of the day, you are our priority. And however we can most effectively cooperate to help you, you guys all know what it's like when adults don't cooperate. I'm really excited to be working with this team instead of some other teams I could have been drafted to. So, Dr. Ulrich, does it make sense at this point for you to schedule with students? What would be the most valuable use of your time while we have you?
It would be, I am going to make Mondays and Fridays my solid days. I want to meet with the most students, because I just found out about 10 minutes ago that the two ladies and the 4 students that I share a room with, we just should, that's like we should, do they make bunk desks like they make bunk beds? Because I think that's what we need in here. We're so crowded. But I'm not, wouldn't that be a crazy concept? But I'm not, Monday and Friday, I'm by myself. So I would rather, that way if I have to yell at any students, no one can hear me. I'm kidding about that. But if I could schedule Monday and Friday at least, that would be great. And I could do that. You want me to share my screen now or?
Sure.
So, or just if students can just let me know in the chat, actually, I guess I don't need to share screens. So Monday, and our first meeting, let me just share with you, will consist of, we need to make up your learner agreement and see what classes you need, which I will do over the weekend to graduate. And I'll share with you how many credits you have toward graduation, like what you need to finish up.
So there's a couple
And
ways to do this. I'm sorry to interrupt, but what I was thinking just now is if you would like, if first of all, if anybody has an absolute preference and they know that they're available for a time on Monday and they want to reserve that sooner than later, go ahead and put that in the chat, either to all of us or Dr. Ulrich. But the
so
other,
yeah, 9, 10, 11, 1 or 2.
okay. The other thing is, if you'd like, we can open up a breakout room for you and students can come on over there and have that conversation, whatever's most comfortable. And welcome, Aureliana. Good to see you. So would you like to just go ahead and open up your calendar?
Okay. Do I have sharing? Can I share my screen? Did you?
Yeah, I do believe. Let me make sure. Yes.
Okay. It's exciting, isn't it, Martin? So is there, and I can't see the chat, I guess. How do I, while I have my calendar up? So does anyone want, is there a taker for Monday at 9 o'clock? I'm not monitoring the chat. So would you mind doing that, Dr. Preston?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Or Monday at 9, 10,
Okay,
11, 1 or 2, tell me.
So you've got a 9 o'clock, Kevin Mejia.
Okay. And then do I have a 10 o'clock or 11, 1 or 2? Just
Okay, Zoe just said, can I get Monday at 10?
okay.
Jossie Martinez is dogging for Friday at 1 p.m.
Friday has to be, I don't think I can do a Friday. Let me just move this.
Jossie, can you do the morning on Friday?
Friday at 11 is the latest I could do.
Okay, Jossie says sure. And
Okay.
Sam Rivas just put in for Friday at 9.
Okay, that was, let's do that. Oh, thank you guys for being so decisive. That's very helpful.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. And I'm trying to keep up with the chat here.
And 9 o'clock was who?
Sam Rivas.
Okay, perfect.
And then let me know when you're ready for the next one.
And next one.
Next one is Naomi. Did you have a time on Friday morning? Can you do 8 or 10? Does that work? 10? Okay. So Naomi Cabral at 10 on Friday. And then Kaylani was asking about Monday at 1.
You got it.
And so maybe if you can give us a rundown of what you've got left and we can nag those few remaining people. I'm not mentioning any names, Diego and Aaron, but just want to make sure everybody gets.
Can you guys see my screen, my calendar? Yeah. I hope so.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. Dr. Ulrich, Aaron's asking for Monday at 2.
And that's AARON, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, and last initial is
M, Mejia.
M. Got it. M. Okay, super. I have Monday at 11 available.
Aureliana or Diego, is Monday at 11 okay with you? Anthony's checking in. Is Monday at 11 still open?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. And Aureliana is asking about 9 o'clock. What day were you wondering about, Aureliana? I think 9 o'clock might be taken, but let's check in with Dr. Ulrich.
I know I could do 9 o'clock on Tuesday or when, as long as I start getting my bookends full, that's what I really wanted to do. 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, you pick.
Terrific. Aureliana, which day? I'm responding to chats as we go here. And
Thank you for joining that.
yeah. So one question that came up in the chat, and this is a really good question. Naomi asked if we're going to be doing this kind of a meeting every Friday or just this week. And Dr. Ulrich and I are kind of in the same boat with you guys. We're working with administration to make sure that we've got the space before we set the schedule. So right now, what we're putting in are the scheduled times for Dr. Ulrich to meet with each of you individually to set your learning program based on the courses that you need and the key interests that you have, which means I hope you did this stuff on your whiteboard. But next week, we're going to send out another bulk email that basically says, just to confirm your appointment individually and also let you know when our seminars are going to be coming up. So this meeting isn't necessarily going to happen for the group next Friday at noon, but let's keep our calendars a little bit flexible as we head into next week. And on Monday, one way or the other, Dr. Ulrich and I are going to send out another email with more schedule notes for you. So Naomi, did that answer your question? It was faster to tell you than type it. All right, thank you. So Aureliana, did you have a date? I'm sorry, a day of the week that was preferable? Okay, it looks like Monday was full.
Monday's full, so Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Right. And Jossie was asking, will we meet every day like we did last year? And the answer to that one is not necessarily, no. So you will have an agenda on the blog, and you will certainly, physical fitness and mental fitness, and I'm going to talk about this next, are daily practices, as learning is sort of a daily practice. Aureliana is saying Tuesday, Dr. Ulrich.
Oh, perfect.
At
So
11.
yeah, I'd like to at 11. I can't. I've got
Okay.
a student there.
Aureliana, does Tuesday at 10 work for you? Perfect. 10 works. Great.
Okay.
Thank you for being flexible, Aureliana. So to finish answering Jossie's question, these practices are daily. Dr. Ulrich and I are alive daily, so we'll be available if you need to reach out. But as far as our meeting schedule, we're not going to have the daily meetings unless there's a need beyond moving through your program. And Naomi, yes, we're going to send that email out on Monday once we have a better handle on the schedule to talk about when we will set up seminars to meet together as a group. These are really good questions, you guys. Thank you so much for asking. I always, when one person asks a question, I'm always wondering in the back of my mind, like how many people also really wanted to know that, but didn't really want to ask. So thank you to those of you who are asking. All right, did we get everybody on the schedule? Diego, do you have a time?
I don't. No, I don't have a,
Diego saying Thursday, so the choices on Thursday, Diego, look like 9, 10, or maybe 11. What's
that
good
would
for,
be preferred because then my room is empty.
okay? Does Thursday at 11 work for you, Diego? Perfect. Diego's Thursday at 11.
Can you possibly, Diego, do 10 o'clock? Did we hear back from him?
Yeah, I didn't see yet. Diego, does 10 o'clock work for you? Awesome. Okay.
Okay, he can?
Yep.
Good. Because then I'm the only one in the room rather than my bunkmates. And there we go. And well, our initial meeting will be an hour because I will be helping you create your learner agreement and sharing with you the classes. And I'd like to do them individually because I don't think it's anyone else's business except you, the students, how many credits you need to graduate. Future meetings, we might meet, like Kevin and I might meet 9 o'clock on Monday, and we might be finished by 9:30. We don't have to meet for the whole hour, but that still is going to be your dedicated time to connect with me.
Well said. And, you know, for those of you who are willing to turn on your microphones for just a moment, I want to send Dr. Ulrich some love, and I'll tell you why. She is the only person out of all of us in this meeting who not only is stuck in a classroom, but she's stuck in the corner of a classroom with 2 pieces of blue tape around her desk that say that's where her space is. So if you just be willing to join, I mean, I love my room. If you'd be willing to join me on the count of 3 and just send her a little bit of, ah, can we please do that? So on the count of 3, open your mics and just, ah, 1, 2, 3.
Aw.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to share my screen again. So Dr. Ulrich, thank you very much for being willing to schedule those times with everybody. It's going to be a huge help. Rather than go through the intro to open source learning, since we're all returning candidates, I know we're going to have some new people joining us. I will bring them up to speed with Dr. Ulrich on a different day. Given the time that we've got now, what I wanted to do was actually show you that we have, our blogs are live. The next segment of this is going to be the magician we know as Martin, who is going to make sure that we're up to speed and ready to go on all of our blogs. But I'm also thinking about the different ways we can represent this work. And what reminded me was when Dr. Ulrich said, you know, it's kind of nobody's business how many credits you need for graduation. Open source learning, and this is totally up to you, each one of you can make your own choices around this. Open source learning says, hey, you know what you're learning can be everybody's business, depending on what parts you want to share. And the nice part is Dr. Ulrich and I are both right about this, because the level of your privacy and the level of your publicity should be your decision. You are creating the value of knowledge by sharing what you're learning as you're going through this process. So for example, we started using categories with our blog posts last year. When I post, and I just put this up, you know, you can look at the timestamp, I forgot which minute it was, but it was literally like a half an hour ago that I typed this. The first online meeting for SMOSLA 22-23 is coming up in less than an hour, and I'm a little nervous. That was the truth. Should I be ashamed of that? I don't know. I'll fight anybody. But for now, what's important about that was that last year we studied mindfulness. And for some reason, it didn't take the link that I wanted to put in here, but I'm going to redo this post. And we talked about how mindfulness actually helps our concentration, helps us remember, helps us navigate our emotions, and it's free. and it doesn't take very long. So we decided as a group that we were going to practice this. I'm saying this partly for those people who watched the recording of this meeting, and also for Dr. Ulrich, because this is all new for her as well. So we started all of our meetings with a couple of minutes of mindfulness. And in that moment, I reflected on that. Like, hey, we're not going to necessarily do this today. And maybe we won't be together as much as a group this year. But there's no reason that I couldn't do it for free in that moment. So I did. It took a couple minutes to close my eyes, breathe deeply, feel my fingertips, and it worked. So even though this post has a generic title, I also gave it the category of mental fitness because I was thinking about that issue and practicing what I had learned in a way that people can see. I was also thinking about everyday practices, and mental and physical fitnesses are, these are not things that I do for an assignment. Nobody's grading me or giving me credit. I do them because they make my life better. You guys know me, I'm an Energizer bunny. I'm 52 years old. We're supposed to be tired and haggard by 52. Forget it. And I can't believe how many students I still talk to. And when I say, hey, how's it going? They go, I just feel tired. Well, there's a fix for that. And that's what I did not learn in school myself. So I started thinking about this stuff. And this is why I'm sharing the physical fitness part of it. I don't mind bragging a little bit. I'm training for the Ironman triathlon. And I'm doing some other stuff. But that wasn't what was on my mind right now. It was what I was eating. I used to be fat, not overweight, not plump, fat. So I needed to do something about it, because if you imagine carrying a 50-pound bag, but carrying it around your stomach all day long, of course it makes you tired. Of course it makes you irritable. And of course it gives you heart problems and diabetes and potential for all other horribles. So I didn't learn this in PE, but I did learn it along the way, and I was thinking about how to eat. Now, here's where I want to shift gears. This isn't about me. This is about a blog post. I'm not talking about this right now because I want to teach you about omelets. I want to set the tone and be thinking about how we share what we know. I could have shared this blog post and not included a picture, but it's better with a picture. I could have included this post and not included a link, but it's more interesting if people can click on something and go, huh, oh, damn, this is for real. Okay. So the same goes for your blog posts. As you start putting this stuff up, I want you to be, dust off the cobwebs from the summer, get back into the habit of thinking about, how do I put my best foot forward? I want you to brag. I want you to be badass. People should get to know you for who you are, because down the road, this is going to matter more after you graduate, when you want opportunities like scholarships or jobs or admissions to universities. These are important things for you to be able to show what you've done. Now, in my case, just to finish the blog post, I had a flavor problem. This was great fuel. Egg whites, spinach, that's like, man, but it tasted like fuel. So I solved my problem. This morning, it was tapatio sauce. Now, for us, when we get into posting your stuff, we have member sites. As of right now, that's a sad community of one. So Martin's here to help us with access, because we have added onto the Open Source Learning Academy platform. I'll get to your mindfulness and your journal topic in a few minutes, but Martin, right now, I'm wondering if you'd like to reintroduce yourself and let me know if anybody has technology stuff that's new to you, or if you recognize all the names here. Where are we with the blog?
Hi, yeah. I had all the names. Oh, sorry. Reintroduce myself. Yeah. Hi, I'm Martin Dow. Speaking to you from the west of Ireland, County Cork. And this is an 8-hour time difference. And yeah, we're enjoying the hottest August week for 40 years in Ireland. So it's kind of reasonable temperature. It's 26. Anyway, so I had half the names, and I'm just in the process of migrating. Yeah, the last few. So you'll be able to tell. Yeah. So basically, your blogs will be part of the new SMOSLA 2023 network, distinguishing from last semester's 2022, right? But it will, yeah. So you will be able to tell whether you. Anyway, look, give me 5 minutes and I'll complete that process, and you'll be migrated.
Okay. And by the way, everybody, I noticed something over the summer and even the last couple of days. Most of us, when it comes right down to it, prefer text over email. And email's hugely valuable for a lot of different reasons that text can't do. We are going to be using the osl.academy email. So please make sure that you're able to log in. But Martin, I mentioned Magic. He's also added a feature to the dashboard for the Open Source Learning Academy protocol. And I'm going to share a screen so that I can show it to you. If I go to the dashboard, if you notice, we've got a few tools and we've got the files, but here, talk mentions, what's this? Well, this is text, but within our system. So nobody else gets to read it but us, and we can create groups within this. So if you have a group that's focused on a particular idea, and we'll talk more about this down the road about how to use it, but this actually goes to my phone as well. So we'll teach you how to download the app. It's free. We'll teach you how to navigate between your phone and your laptop or your tablet, whatever you're using. I'm going to ask you next week in an email to please send me an email and let me know what devices you're using, so that if we know of a particular issue with a device, or if there's something that we can help you with specific to a device, that we'll be able to do that. But I want
Dr. Preston, which device they prefer is in that learner master agreement.
Fantastic.
So
okay,
they'll have shared that. I think Martin already built that in.
Oh, well, you know what? I mentioned not having to do it all myself. I'm not used to being part of such a super team. So thank you. There's another thing too. We've also got video conferencing. So we actually won't need Zoom anymore if we decide to move along with our own stuff. So I won't bother with us now, but toward the end, for those of you who can hang out for a few minutes, we're actually going to shift gears and play with Big Blue Button instead of Zoom. So Martin, is there anything that you need directly right now to accomplish with the learners while we've got everybody?
Not really, except just I'd like folks to log in basically whilst they're during this session. I think then it's useful for me to be able to just verify directly whilst we're all in the same room that you can log into the blog in its your blog in its new location. So I'll signal when I'm ready for that. And then obviously if you wish folks to if there's time and it's appropriate to log into the dashboard, then let's just make sure everybody can do that as well, so that nobody's sort of left out and having to sort of sleeve tug offline or another time.
Okay. I'm going to throw a couple links in the chat. First of all, here's the link that I should have linked my blog post to about mindfulness, but I'm going to find the email link for us, and I'm going to put that in the chat as well. If you haven't yet, would you please log in to your email and make sure that you can get there? There you go. And I'm also going to put the link in for the dashboard and make sure that you can also log into that. And here is that link. And actually, while I'm on the topic, let's make sure that everybody's got the up-to-date this year version of the home site. And Naomi, this was the part of the meeting that I promised you in text that we'd cover, so you have all the links, because I know some of you are using different machines than you did last year, or you need to update your current bookmarks. So this is a great time, not only to make sure that you can log in, but that you're bookmarking all of these URLs so that you have them when you need them for Monday and beyond. So please do take a moment and click on those, open a tab, put them in your bookmarks, however you organize your digital stuff, and make sure that when you go on them, that you can also see what you need to see, and for the email and the dashboard that you can log in. This is also a good time, now that I'm thinking about it, to go on to your old blog address and make sure that you can log in with the slash, I'll put this in the chat as well, the WordPress extension to get into your dashboard. If you don't remember your URL for your learner blog, I'm going to put up the member sites. In fact, let me show this to you real quick. And I know I'm going fast.
Yeah, if I can just interrupt a moment, Dr. Preston, I need to get to my faculty meeting.
Okay.
And so I need to go. I look forward to meeting you and all of you. And I have posted, another thing for them to bookmark is my Zoom, which we'll use right now. I posted that. And just a reminder for those who have appointments late in the week, Sam, Naomi, Josie, and Diego, if you post in the, I don't know, how many posts are you asking, are you suggesting that they do? Is it still, do you want to do it every day or?
I'm suggesting at least one a day because it's an easy thing to be in the habit of doing. And if you can tag it with more than one category, so much the better. But this is a pretty minimal thing. And so last year we got to the point where we were talking about 3 a day. To start with, maybe 1 a day, but working our way up is definitely on the horizon.
So the four of you that have meetings later in the week, just to prove that you're in school, if you would please post at least twice during the week so that your place is held, so that there's activity on the website.
Yeah,
Sound good?
Do 1 a day minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, school's minimum is not our minimum. We're better than that. I'm an egotist.
Okay.
Hey,
So
thank you so much, Dr. Ulrich.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend, everyone, and behave. Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Right, catch you later. So back to what I was saying about the member sites. If you're not sure about what your old URL was, here is the list. I'm going to put the link to this in the chat. And then remember that whatever so I'm looking at Aaron's, for example, if your URL was aaronmejia.smosla2022.osl.academy, then to get to your dashboard, it would be that address and then WP-ADMIN. So I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the chat as well. And I'm going to hang out for these next few minutes while we're tinkering, just to make sure that everybody's able to log into where they need to log in and see what they need to see. And you guys can let me know when you're good. I'm going to give this about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll move on at about 12:50 if I don't hear from you sooner.
So we just need to be able to log into everything?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so Martin, we're getting an interesting, I'm going to share these ideas because they may affect more people. One person is telling me, Martin, that they went to their blog site, but it's saying that the connection is not private and it doesn't let this person reload it. Can you?
Actually, okay. So there are 4 blogs which I've just migrated, and if it's one of those, it could be that it's correctly actually reporting, the browser is reporting that.
Okay, Martin, I just sent you a message about which one.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, indeed. So so what's happening is that each name link, the link name has to be secure, has to be a kind of a known link, and that's a secure encrypted link. So what's happened is I migrated the blog, but the link is actually different now with 2023, but the certificate hasn't yet been updated across the internet, in fact. So the way in which names get copied across the internet, all the way from the server, which I've just done live, the migration a few minutes ago, and your machine, it hasn't quite, the name hasn't quite propagated yet for your browser to realize that it's actually not a spoof. So we're not faking it, it's the real deal. It really is the server with that name. It just hasn't caught up. So you should be able to press refresh a few times, and hopefully it will catch up. Okay, or you can just ignore the security warning if you can. I mean, sometimes machines won't let you in for your own safety. So we might have to hang on for a few minutes.
Thanks, Martin. I appreciate the explanation. You know, sometimes when we're in a hurry to do stuff, it seems like these are actual like distractions. But in fact, the reason that we're using our own software and perfect. So the person that we were just talking about, Martin, refreshed the blog and it worked. The reason that we go through these explanations and the reason that Martin is kind enough, you know, at almost 9 o'clock on an Irish Friday evening to join us and explain these things is because we look at our screens all the time and click and do stuff without really thinking about how is this working and what information of mine am I giving up or revealing, and how could that be used? And so what do I need to protect? And when is this important to know? So even though it may take a little bit, I think it's an important process for us to consider. I want to go back as we head toward the top of the hour here to today's post on the current Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy blog. And I'm going to put this in the chat again for reference. We didn't really talk about everything on the agenda. So that means if there's a link, I want you to click it. And if there's an opportunity to post, I want you to take it. So the opportunity to click, and I don't know if I've ever shared this particular video with you, but I talk about the 5 fitnesses of open source learning. Same bookcase, by the way, same books, but that was back when I lived on the Central Coast, so you can see the angle was different. And we're going to get to structuring our days and weeks next week. This was a really solid introduction to Dr. Ulrich. Remember, I'm not going anywhere. I am going to be available, and she will be taking the lead when it comes to administering. It's going to be a little bit more formal. We didn't have contract last year. And the reason that I'm so excited to report this, I wanted to make this something that was literally bulletproof. And I know, like, even terms like that in schools now, you can't say stuff like that. All right, so defensible, legitimate in the eyes of people who don't know what we do every day. Having those contracts and being able to use your blogs with the course drop downs, and I'm going to give you information on that next week. Do you remember for example, let me just find one. You guys remember Gabby, so let me just use her blog as an example. Once we have your course program set, I will help create the menus so that you have these drop downs. And that way, and Naomi, you just asked a good question. So to get it clear, Miss Catherine is the main teacher, not me. Yeah, you can look at it that way. That's fine. Am I like our counselor? Kind of. Miss Hernandez is still the official counselor for Delta. Martin and I are just the people who are here to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So in a pinch, I just want to let you know that we're both available. I have a lot of trust in Dr. Ulrich and Catherine, and I think she's a wonderful person. I also recognize that we have a level of trust. So I don't want you to feel like you can't text me or call me, or, you know, we can't hang out online. We can. I'm here for you. I just want you to know that this is the kind of work, frankly, contracts, course credit. Do I seem like the kind of guy who loves sitting around with that all day to you? So, all right. When we think about, thanks, Naomi, you're right. So when we think about this stuff, yeah, take a look at the 5 fitnesses, because you'll understand why I was harping so much on mental and physical, also civic. We're using technical. Next week, we'll have the schedule for you. We'll start thinking about when we do our group meetings. You're going to get your courses. We'll do the drop downs together. And then you're going to start to see every day on the course blog, on the Santa Maria Joint Union High School District Open Source Learning Academy blog, this site, a daily agenda with a daily journal topic. You'll always have the chance to pick your own. But that way, if you don't have something on your mind that you want to write about, you can find something right away. If you really need some inspiration, like I said, reach out. For today, you have a journal topic. You can write it in a notebook. You can write it on your blog. Totally up to you this year. And instead of today's tunes, I put suggested soundtrack, because I won't necessarily be playing them online with you in real time, but at least this way you'll have access to them and you'll know what I was thinking when I wrote it. If that's not the music you want to listen to, we'll comment to the post and come up with something better, because I would love to learn from you too. All right. I'm always self-conscious when I get to the closing moments of a meeting, because I know how fast I talk. So are there any questions, or does anybody have any feedback or comments for me before we close? Yeah, somebody just put in the chat to me, can we put the journal in every day as opposed to on Fridays? Absolutely. I want you to take the best of what we did last year, and then I want to make it yours. I want to give you everything that we did so that you can say, ooh, that part worked. I'm going to do that again. But you know what? This part, now that I've got some more freedom, I can do this better because this works for me. Yes, that's awesome. All right, thanks for the note, Kevin. Any other closing comments, jokes, anecdotes, riddles, queries, challenges, off-color remarks?
I have a question.
Yes, Aaron.
How come it's called SM if you're still technically under Delta?
Well, technically, I'm not.
So why would we have a Delta counselor?
Well, because the way that this works and the way that the school district is organized, we've got to have a counselor somewhere. And because the Open Source Learning Academy is not a traditional program, it was easiest to align it with what is called the, what's the name of it? The alternative education programs for the district. And there's more than one. There's like, you've got independent study, you've got homeschool, you've got the virtual academy thing they were doing. And the Open Source Learning Academy is considered not, you know, traditional on campus 6 periods a day kind of thing. So it was just easier to put it with alternative education, and that usually runs through Delta High School. So they already have a counselor, a dean who can sign work permits, a principal who can sign off on diplomas, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're basically using that structure and working with them to do this program. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does.
Thank you for the question. And by the way, how's the writing going? I'm dying to know. I can't wait to ask you this question. How's the writing going? Are you doing any?
I've decided to start writing a few things with my friend.
Oh, fun.
So he wants to make a webtoon, so that's what we're working on.
All right. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing something. And by the way, that reminds me, if you feel good, and I'm saying the global you, if all of you, each of you feel good about the key interests or the big questions that you started with last year and you want to continue, that's fantastic. If you want to shift it, like, you know, Aaron's still doing writing, but the writing might be with a different focus or even with a co-author or in a different medium. Or maybe you just want to do something different altogether. There's no way to get it wrong. I do want to remind you, though, that we did agree, and I didn't harp on it today because we had to juggle the schedule a little bit with Dr. Ulrich, and I really wanted to get those meetings scheduled. But please, if you haven't yet, go to dojoit.com, and I'll put that link in the chat as well, and update your whiteboard. You can either do an update to your old one, or you can do a new one, but either way, sign in, and if you have any trouble with your login stuff, obviously, then you can just, you know, register. It's free. And I'll put the link in the chat. But this is a fun way. And okay, it's my idea of fun, but why did that just do that? That's not the link I wanted. So ignore that one. You already have that link. Let's try this link. I like to draw. And so for me, being in front of it, like my whole desk is, if it wasn't such a mess, I'd show it to you. My whole desk is a whiteboard. And so I love once in a while just clearing this whole thing off and going after it with my dry erase markers. And just, you know, sometimes it's words, but a lot of the times it's images. In fact, Kevin, yours is still one of my favorites. Again, we're not supposed to have favorites, but I do. So if anybody has any questions about the whiteboard or any of that stuff, hit me up over the weekend also. I am going to Malibu tomorrow morning at 4:30 so that I can do an ocean swim because I'm insane and have officially lost my mind and I'm training for this triathlon. But I will be back in the desert probably by about 10 or 11. So if I don't respond early in the morning right away, it's just because I'm in the ocean. And if I'm not shark bait, then I'll be back in front of my computer in the afternoon and I'll respond to you then. Okay, Naomi Martin, Naomi's having trouble logging into her dashboard. And Sam, my answer is yes to you. So before we leave, we'll hang out for a bit. If you are a person who was able to log into everything, if you know how to get to your whiteboard, if you know how to get to your blog and put up a post for today's journal topic, please, I would love to read them. You're out of here. Have a wonderful weekend and we'll catch up with each other next week. If you need anything, you know where to find me. Naomi and Sam, please hang out. If anybody else has a question and wants to hang out, you're welcome to. Otherwise, see you soon. Bye.